paper, I chose to the controversial issue of immigration pertaining to the proposed solutions in place now considering deportation. My overarching purpose of my paper was kind of to find the intersection of the ethical or the philosophical standpoints on this and how they intersect with the economic standing of the Deportation Act, of kind of how much it would cost. Would the end cost be worth it? And then kind of how did the ethics or the moral standings work into that? So I thought this was a good kind of topic to address because it's on the head of every news line right now. It's on the head of, has been the talk of debates for years and will continue to be. I started off with kind of outlining my paper, what my definition or what the common definition I found of an immigrant really is, and kind of when did it get this negative connotation, and if that is correct. And I backed it up with kind of studies that don't have a lot to show of the negative aspects pertain to crime or those statistics in those areas, and actually some of them experience flourishing in some of those populations. Obviously, it's situational, which is really hard because this is such an opinion-based topic that there isn't a lot of this makes it wrong or this makes it right. I kind of went through and stating how much that it would cost, so to cover the economic standpoint, and the proposed deportation kind of plans that are in the talks about would cost between $100 and $300 billion, and it would take 20 years to kind of carry out the action. And there's transport costs that go along with it. There's the legal costs of kind of going through, because if you're going to prosecute these immigrants, there has to be a legal process, and that costs money, along with the maintenance cost is in the billions, and it's kind of how to keep these acts up. And so the effects on the GDP wouldn't be desirable. It's going to reduce it by 1.6 trillion. And so enforcing these laws or putting them into action isn't necessarily the best economic route, even in the unemployment area where everyone says they take all the jobs, but in reality, the jobs that they take up aren't the ones that are most desired. They're the maintenance or the groundskeepers, there's the maids. And so although that's opinion-based and we can argue and say, oh, well, we don't know that people wouldn't take those jobs, it's true, but even they're paid at a lower rate as it is, and so it wouldn't have the desired effect on the market that we think that they're having such a negative impact. And obviously a lot of this is opinion-based as I'm discussing it, but with my paper it is backed up with statistics. There's a lot of, then I crossed into the kind of philosophy part of it, and one of the books I sourced, and it was really good, it outlined kind of the three normative theories of philosophy that are argued that kind of cross into the deportation and just the issues of illegal immigrants in general, and how kind of you can use the theories of the justice point of view, which argues like the common humanity or the sameness, or Kant's theory of duties and deontology, and just kind of looking at the morality of the action and utilitarianism and just how to maximize, how that decision will maximize and utilize kind of the best way. These are all, obviously it's easy to say that that's ethical, but there is the argument that it's illegal, therefore they're here and it's not ethical. But I think kind of we should be called to handle it with a moral approach now. Obama's had proposed a plan of action that actually kind of was the best of both worlds in a way. Of it took action and it started to see a lot of illegals who are here started to see the benefits of it, and it was kind of creating jobs for them more, and so then they were contributing, and it was kind of on their way to legalizing it. There's a lot of the talks of amnesty and just the cost of legalizing and documenting one immigrant is really, really expensive. It's $12,000, I think, for one. And so there isn't really a right or wrong solution, is kind of what I saw in the end after researching. I changed my thesis a few times after trying to research what kind of this topic was and kind of what it meant. And there's just a lot of gray areas in it. But in conclusion, I kind of think that Obama's plan was a hybrid that put into action of an action that was necessary, because there is a problem that's going on in America with the illegals, and there needs to be some sort of action that takes place. But at the same time, his plan was kind of a hybrid that still appealed and kind of still appealed to the humanity side of it, and that these are people that we're dealing with, and it better, I think, better implements like who we are as humans from a philosophical standpoint. So although it's kind of a gray area in a hard situation or discussion to talk about, because a lot of it is opinion based, I did find that a lot of my research actually helped to kind of contradict a lot of my prior thoughts and kind of truths that I was kind of grew up learning or even heard on the news. So doing the research really helped. And yeah, I promise my paper is more detailed than that.